All right, John. First away trip of the season. How have the boys been during the week?
Yeah, good during the week. They're confident after last performance. The boys performed really well. It was our best game so far this season. And yeah, looking forward to the first trip away against a difficult side. And we know it'll be a tough game, but we're looking forward to the test.
You've spoken each week about the process and how the confidence has always been there, and it certainly seems that way that we've been building up, and sort of each performance has been an improvement. So how much of a positive has that been that there's no one's listening to any sort of outside noise and we're just staying committed?
Yeah, look, the boys know that the first two games there was really not a lot in it anyway. There was just individual errors that cost us the goals, and then we weren't able to get the points that we wanted. But in terms of all-round performances, we've been doing well. Probably not for full games. The first two games were mainly big chunks of it, but the last game was the whole game that we were in total control, created a lot of opportunities, and we know that if we do that, we're going to end up setting up and scoring more goals. So that's the main focus. We know it'll be, again, like I said, tough, but we just have to make sure that we're defensively very structured and with the ball we're confident.
We had, I think it was 62% of the ball against Macarthur, which I did a little bit of digging. I think that's the second highest total since you came. All three games so far we've had better or won the possession battle against the other team. Is that a product of some of the work in pre-season, looking to be that more dominant side with the ball?
Yeah, look, we're always looking to improve in all areas, and with the possession, that we don't just want to be a team to have possession for possession's sake. We want to actually, when we do have the ball, it's move the ball quickly, break lines, get forward, create chances, and we've been able to outpossess the opposition in all three games. And then once that happens, you also have to be aware of the counter-attack threat that the opposition do have. So, against Sydney, we left them a little bit too much space. They were able to hurt us on the counter-attack. Against Macarthur, who they have dangerous players in those positions, we didn't allow them any space. And we have to do the same against Central Coast because they're strong on the counter. They've got good players going forward and they can hurt you.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously two of the bigger names in Cummings and Quoll. They're obviously probably gunning for the Socceroos selection, or just obviously hoping to impress in general. What sort of a threat do those two bring?
Yeah, Cummings is a top player. We know what he can do. His left foot, he links up really well. He comes in late into the box because he's linking up, and Quoll, we know that the impact that he can make when he comes in off the bench. And they also have the other boys up top that cause a lot of problems. And Silvera is one that's scored a couple of goals already. So it's not just those two that we mentioned. It's all their front four or whoever comes in for them, and so we have to be aware of all their threats.
We had the pre-season friendly against them here. What did you learn from that game, and what have you seen in their first few competitive games?
Yeah, very similar to what we saw in pre-season. We know what they're about. We know how they like to get in behind you with early balls in behind, but they also can shift the ball and keep the ball well. So, and defensively, we have to be very good, and also how they might press us, how they might sit off on us. How we have to try and play through that and find our spare men and combine to create opportunities. But yeah, they're very similar to what we saw. They're going to want a result in this game because they have started like us without the points on the board, but they're a dangerous side, and we have to be at our best if we want to get all points.
I think they were the only team come the end of the finals that we didn't beat at all last season. Is there anything in particular that we need to do differently to get one over them this season?
No, look, I think both games were very tight that we played against them. So we felt we were in both games that we could have got the result, could have gone either way. But in pre-season we got to see how they might set up and how they might play against us. So we'll take a lot of confidence from that and build on the performance against Macarthur to see if we can get the result. But we know they're what they're capable of doing, and also I'm sure they know what we're capable of doing.
I know you've been asked a bit about Josh Risdon in the first few weeks, but particularly in an attacking sense, he started the season very well. He's not probably more so known for the defensive side of his game, but a goal and an assist already. Is that something that you've spoken to him about having more of an impact up front?
Look, we've worked on it definitely with our fullbacks because they're a big part of our attacking threat, and Josh has really shown at the beginning of this season that we talk about his goal and his assist, but he's been getting into goal scoring positions. In all 3 games, he's had chances, setting up opportunities in all 3 games, and he's been playing really well with the ball. We know what he's capable of doing. Like you said, without the ball, he's in great form, and heading into a World Cup selection, you're thinking that the national team coach will select who's in the best form, and if that's the case, then I think Riz has got a good opportunity of getting into another World Cup.
And we've seen some of the young guys get some, extended opportunities off the bench. Noah got a fair few minutes against MacArthur, Nick as well throughout the year. Hopefully welcoming back soon, likes of Reece and Adisu. How are they tracking?
Yeah, look, Adisu had a long layoff with injury, so he's tracking well. He trained all week with us, and Reece Bozanowski's come back from the under-20 national team, so he's in contention. They're looking good. That's important. We want all our players. We've got a few injuries. We've had a few injuries, but it's happened to us now at the beginning of the season. Last year it happened towards the end of the season. We just have to make sure the ones that are there and they get their opportunity and they perform well, and I'm confident they will.
And maybe just the last one, obviously Dia making his comeback last week with a few minutes off the bench. Will we start to see a little bit more from him? How impressed were you with, even though it was only a handful of minutes, he seemed to get a lot of the ball and get things ticking over?
Yeah, Dia did really well against MacArthur. I know he wasn't on for long, but it's also like a process for him as well. He's been 8 months without football, and it would be wrong of me for him if we threw him out there for a long period that ends up not only a risk for injury, but also starts to fatigue a little bit earlier. But we're confident that he keeps building. He's doing really well, Dia, and he performed well. But we also have to see game by game, how the game's panning out, how long he'll play for. But he's been looking good in training. He's creating a lot of opportunities for his teammates, and I'm sure if he does play get minutes, he'll create opportunities for us, and he's always a handful for the opposition.